Hey everyone, welcome. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us for today's explainer. We are about to embark on a really fascinating journey into a mysterious concept that promises something I think we all secretly, or maybe not so secretly, want. I'm talking about a longer, more fulfilling, and incredibly vibrant life. Today we're basically going to explore the art of staying young while growing old. All right, let's just dive right into our source material for today. The incredible insights we're unpacking come directly from the massive international bestseller Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Hector Garcia and Francesc Miralles. Their investigation actually kicked off on a rainy night in Tokyo, and it eventually led them all the way to Ogimi. That's a remote, rural town in Okinawa, Japan, with a population of just about 3,000 people. But here's the kicker. This town holds the highest life expectancy in the entire world. They literally call it the Village of Longevity.
Now, I want you to think about the world we live in for a second. We are constantly battling these modern epidemics, right? Stress, anxiety, premature aging. We're always hunting for the next magic pill or some crazy high-tech biohack. But what if the antidote to all our modern burnout is actually way simpler than we think? What if the ultimate secret to a long, happy life really just boils down to finding your true reason to get out of bed in the morning?
So to figure this out, we have to understand one specific term, Ikigai. In Japanese, the word combines iki, which means life, with gai, meaning to be worthwhile. It roughly translates to the happiness of always being busy. But wait, this is a very different, much more fulfilling kind of busy than our stressful, modern-day schedules. On a deeper level, it translates to your reason for being. The Japanese believe that every single one of us has an Ikigai hidden deep inside. Finding it takes some patient soul-searching for sure, but the Okinawans are convinced that this exact concept is the driving engine behind their incredibly long lives. It really helps to think of Ikigai as this beautifully balanced framework. It sits right at the perfect intersection of four overlapping things: what you love, what you're really good at, what the world actually needs, and what you can be paid for. It's that ultimate sweet spot where your passion, your mission, your vocation, and your profession all just perfectly align. When you have a clearly defined Ikigai, it brings this profound meaning and satisfaction to your everyday life. And that naturally translates into lasting health for your mind, your body, and your spirit. But here's the thing. To actually pursue our psychological purpose, we need a physical vessel that works, right? The authors looked at the 5 blue zones. These are regions like Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, and Loma Linda in California, where people statistically outlive the rest of us. And what they found is that the foundational physical habits in these places are remarkably similar. They aren't relying on extreme science experiments. They rely on a really simple, consistent pyramid of daily lifestyle choices. And right at the base of that pyramid is a fascinating rule: 80%. Over in Japan, there's this ancient everyday phrase, hara hachibu. It basically means don't eat until you're completely stuffed. Okinawans deliberately stop eating the second they feel their stomachs hit roughly 80% capacity. Why does that even matter? Well, because avoiding overeating actually saves your body from these long, exhausting digestive processes that scientifically accelerate cellular oxidation and aging. It's a total game changer. So building off that 80% rule, the rest of the Okinawan lifestyle is supported by a few super actionable pillars. They take in an average of just 1,800 to 1,900 calories a day. Their diet is packed with tofu, sweet potatoes, and fish. You also won't find them doing grueling high-intensity boot camps. Instead, they do daily, gentle movements. Think gardening or walking. But honestly, the most crucial pillar might be something called a moai. A moai is this close-knit, informal community group. They look out for each other, they provide emotional stability, and they even chip in financial support during hard times. For a lot of these folks, serving their moai actually becomes a huge part of their ikigai.
Now picture this wild concept called aging's escape velocity. Imagine a rabbit walking into the future, and it's holding a sign with the age you're going to die. Every year you live, you step a little closer to that rabbit. But the speed at which the rabbit walks forward, that represents our advancing medical technology. While science is in this massive race to extend our biological clocks, our source material makes something abundantly clear. The ultimate longevity tool is already right inside us. It's an active mind. Staying intensely curious and mentally engaged actually builds new neural connections and is scientifically proven to slow down how fast your cells age.
But of course, this is where we hit a massive roadblock nowadays. If you want to understand why we are all aging so prematurely, look at our ancestors. Cave dwellers were actually pretty relaxed most of the time. They only felt stressed when a literal predator threatened to eat them. Modern humans, though, we are constantly on high alert. Our brains have quite literally started associating the ping of a cell phone or a quick email from the boss with the life-or-death threat of a tiger attack. So we've got low doses of cortisol, the stress hormone, just constantly flooding our bodies, wearing down our cells and causing chronic fatigue.
He who has a why to live for can bear with almost any how. I absolutely love this quote from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. It is the perfect bridge for our explainer right now, moving us from the physical habits of the blue zones into the deeply psychological search for meaning. Because let's be real, eating sweet potatoes and taking daily walks won't keep you alive if you don't have a fundamental reason to keep going in the first place.
And that brings us to Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist, a Holocaust survivor, and the founder of logotherapy. Now, while traditional psychoanalysis spends a lot of time digging into your past traumas, logotherapy looks forward. It helps patients consciously discover their life's purpose to cure that deep sense of existential frustration. The whole journey is incredibly transformative. You start out feeling empty, you realize you're craving meaning, you discover a purpose, you consciously choose to accept it, and suddenly, that newfound passion gives you the armor to overcome almost any obstacle life throws at you.
The book shares some incredibly moving stories from Frankl's clinic that showed just how powerful this shift is. There was one case involving a mother who was suicidal after losing her 11-year-old son. The only thing stopping her was her other son, who was paralyzed and needed her care. During a session, Frankl asked her to imagine herself on her deathbed, fabulously wealthy, but completely childless. By projecting herself into the future and looking back, it hit her like a ton of bricks. Her life was actually overflowing with meaning. Why? Because she had devoted herself to giving her paralyzed son a beautiful life. She realized right then that her life was anything but a failure.
Here's another really profound one. An elderly doctor came in suffering from a deep depression after his beloved wife passed away. Frankl just looked at him and asked, "What would have happened if you had died first?" The doctor was horrified. He said his wife would have suffered tremendously. And Frankl replied, "You see, doctor, you have spared her all that suffering, but the price you have to pay for this is just survive and mourn her." Instantly, the doctor's immense grief was transformed. By carrying that pain, he was protecting the woman he loved. His suffering suddenly had a purpose.
So, while Frankl was developing logotherapy over in the West, Shoma Morita was creating his own purpose-centered therapy in Japan, which was heavily influenced by Zen Buddhism. Western therapy often tells us we need to control or modify our thoughts so we can change our feelings. Morita therapy flips that completely on its head. Action over emotion. Morita taught that we shouldn't even try to control our emotions, at all. Instead, we just accept them exactly as they are and put all our energy into changing our actions. In practice, Morita therapy is intense. We're talking a 15 to 21-day program that strips away every single modern distraction. It kicks off with 5 to 7 days of total isolation and rest. No TV, no talking, just lying down alone with your thoughts. Eventually, you get so bored you actually want to do things, so you move to light therapy, in silence, stuff like journaling or gardening. Then comes the heavy, physical occupational therapy. We're talking going out into the mountains and literally chopping wood. Finally, you return to the real world. The genius here is that instead of just intellectualizing your problems on a couch, you're building real resilience and character through direct action and experience.
To really master this idea of accepting your emotions, Morita frequently brought up this beautiful sentiment by the Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh. "Hello, solitude. How are you today? Come, sit with me, and I will care for you." It's like, think of human emotions as the weather. You can't predict a storm, and you definitely can't control it. You can only observe it. If you try to get rid of a wave in the ocean by hitting it with another wave, you're just going to create a turbulent, infinite sea. We have to learn to welcome those negative emotions, sit with them for a bit, and then get back to work.
Morita was also a huge proponent of Nikon introspective meditation. This whole practice revolves around asking yourself 3 very blunt questions about the people in your life. Number 1, what have I received from them? Number 2, what have I given to them? And number 3, which is the really critical one, what problems have I caused them? Asking yourself these 3 simple questions forces a radical shift in your brain. It stops you dead in their tracks from blaming others for your problems and drastically deepens your own sense of personal responsibility. So what's the big takeaway from our explainer today? Well, finding your Ikigai isn't just some nice, poetic idea. It is the literal existential fuel that keeps your mind sharp and your body young. When we blend the foundational physical habits of the blue zones, eating lightly, moving your body every day, building a tight-knit community, with the deeply psychological frameworks of people like Viktor Frankl and Shoma Morita, we fully equip ourselves to pursue our passions. We learn to accept our anxieties, focus on the action right in front of us, and actually live for something greater than ourselves. I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. You do not need to pack up and move to Okinawa to find your Ikigai. It is already waiting right there inside of you, sitting at the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So I challenge you to ask yourself today, what is your reason for getting up in the morning? Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep seeking your purpose, and I'll see you next time.